The Unconsoled by Ishiguro. This is the copy I bought at an actual bookstore the year it came out, and I've read it at least 3 times because I'm just enamored of it. But your reaction to the book will depend on, I think, not only what you like to read, but also how you read. And the how you read is a issue that reviewers don't necessarily often recognize. But if you're the kind of reader who approaches a book as if it's a puzzle to be figured out, like each book is a Rubik's Cube that has to be manipulated till you figure out what it is, then this book might not be the kind of book you will like. But if you read the book, or any book, as just being along for the ride, then you're the type of reader who would enjoy this book. And I see the difference between the two approaches as reflecting the personality type in Myers-Briggs terms. If you know about Myers-Briggs personality tests, you would be on the J side, the judging side, if you have to figure it out, and all the while you're thinking about whether you like it, or what you have to figure out, And then there's the P side, which is the perceiving side, which is more along for the ride and enjoying the journey. And if you're good at suspending disbelief and suspending judgment and just seeing what happens. And I'm that kind of reader. And I'm not saying either is superior to the other, because a lot of books are written, I think, geared more towards the J side of things. But I think a lot of people might approach this book as if it's like this particular book, like it's one of those Twilight Zone episodes, or those kind of shows where a traveler comes across some remote town, and it's a strange town, and at first the inhabitants their behavior is a little off, and then it gets more and more strange, until finally the protagonist figures out that all the people in this town are ghosts, or that the people in this town annually have a human sacrifice, and you're elected to be the one. And so this book almost has that kind of feel, but there's not that kind of payoff at the end. If you're expecting that kind of payoff, it doesn't exist. This is more like dreams, where you're dreaming, and there's sort of an event that your dream seems to be heading toward, but the payoff is never there, and we're always on the edge of something in a dream, and it never comes to fruition. And I think that's because that's how life is, that what we're really after isn't achieved in life. This is my viewpoint, that what we're really after is God, and what we're avoiding is God. But in this life, as St. Paul said, we see through a glass darkly, but then we'll see face to face in the next life. But whether you agree with that or not, this book is it is more that way, where it's grasping for something that isn't achievable. So I loved it. If some people seem to have been frustrated with it. I had no frustration with it. I just enjoyed it as it unfolded. I enjoyed the little things that are off, and seeing things that are slightly off. And I will say, Hoopla, which is the service where you can go through your library and digitally check out books. I saw on their description of the Unconsoled, they said it's a wicked satire, and I don't agree with that at all. It's but I could be wrong. But The Simpsons are a wicked satire, but this doesn't have that kind of snarky condescension that wicked satire has. In fact, I never saw this as humor because I was more with the character. I wasn't sort of distanced from the characters. So I guess it is possible to see it as humor. And, I was surprised to learn that when Kafka read his stories like The Castle and things like that out loud to his friends, that they all burst out laughing, and Kafka with them. And when I read his Kafka, it's like, it never occurred to me to see it as a humor thing. I thought it more as a nightmare kind of thing. And so I could be wrong. Maybe Ishiguro did mean it as satire, but I didn't read it that way, and it doesn't have to be read that way. But if you try to apply too much logic to it, then you're going to be disappointed. And for instance, the fact that Ryder is constantly, like, he doesn't recognize the woman that he's had a romantic involvement with, and he doesn't recognize his son and his and the woman's father until as it develops. And there's no point where he's trying to remember things, really, or when he does remember, he says, "Oh, I should have remembered. Why? How is it possible I forgot?" But these things unfold in his mind, and then he automatically accepts them without wrestling with issues of why did I remember, why did I recall. And he sees things as a first-person narrator that he really shouldn't be able to see, but he does, and he doesn't question it the way the reader might. But I was with him so much that I just accepted things, And if you're an accepting kind of reader, then this is the book you'll enjoy. But this, for me, no one single novel has influenced me as a writer as much as this book has. And so it's a book that I'm very much, it's my favorite Ishiguro book too. So I would recommend it on that basis.